Good day, everybody. It's Brian Tarian from the Disability Digest, and I'm here with Kristen. Thank you for joining us today, Kristen.
Thank you.
Kristen has volunteered to go through a hearing preparation conversation, like what to expect in a hearing specifically for questions that you may be asked by the judge. And in my opinion, regardless whether you are just starting or thinking about applying for disability or going to a disability hearing, like coming up real quick for you, Kristen, the answer structure to the question is the same, and how you should treat these. And in most situations, if you've been through the disability approval process and have done it correctly, hopefully you have, then you already have been asked the questions, right? So that's
Yes.
what we're going to talk about here today. So first of all, just to hopefully set you at ease. This really doesn't pertain to questions, but what I have up on the screen here is the website Disability Judges. And for the members that go through the approval process here at the Disability Digest, they have access to Disability Judges. It's a public website. But this particular profile on Disability Judges is your judge's approval statistics. I don't know if you're aware of these.
No, I wasn't, but I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, they're actually good.
They actually are good. Yeah, they are good.
They are good. So it shows from 2010 to 2020, his approval rate's 58%. So, we've, unfortunately, it's one of the things that really irks me about this process, Kristen, is that you have somebody who has good statistics, but somebody in this same hearing office could approve 22% of their cases instead of 58. Mm-hmm. That's the way it is.
Okay.
So that's always one good thing. But I think in general, the questions that are asked from our experience are the same. So here's what I want to do is I have up on the screen kind of a run through of an agenda here. So what we've done is we've gone through and we listen to hearings a lot. In my position, I don't attend hearings, but for those that we do help directly get approved after the hearing, we listen to them and we extract the questions and kind of get a feel for how the hearing went. And so this is an aggregate list of I think there's 96 questions. But those 96 questions are all questions that have been asked in some form before already. But most people don't know this. They don't know what to expect to ask. So, and where they've been asked is when you go through the disability approval process, this is the lesson that we teach people how to fill out these forms, is you're sent two primary forms. One is about what you can do on a daily basis, function report, and the other one is about your work history. And how you answer those questions is really the same strategy and how you should answer them here. So I know you just went through this, and I don't want to put you on a pop quiz, Kristen, and you can totally decline this, but in going through that and answering the questions, what is it that you learned from that particular interview with Attorney Osterhout as far as the answering strategy for the adult function report? Is there anything that stood out?
Less is more.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that they want to read your whole story, every question. You just kind of have to really read the question and think about it before you answer it. Mm-hmm. And I kind of took this when I first started, which was back in 2017, when I first started the disability situation. And I wasn't in a good state of mind. So I didn't take this as seriously as I should have. And now when I look back, it's a really important thing. It's a lot of questions, but you have to just make sure you read them
Mm-hmm.
and sit down for a quiet time and do it. And then, if it's too much, leave it, come back to it. It's just a very important way to get yourself ready for
Mm-hmm.
seeing the judge. So,
Well said. Well said. So this question 5 here, that starts out the kind of open-ended questions that you'll get in a hearing, is
mhm.
something that you may be asked directly or in some way, shape, or form. Now, um, in my experience, when we ask these questions to individuals going through the process, like how do your illnesses or injuries or condition limit your ability to work, they'll typically say, I have chronic back pain, fibromyalgia, IBS, I don't sleep well, those things.
Mhm.
And is there anything that you learned about how you should answer those? Like what should you communicate different than the conditions?
Well, looking at what I said, um, just trying to think of exactly I actually did this question last. I went through everything else and then came back to this question. Because I know a lot of the stuff the questions are repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like if I could get through the other questions in a way that was, would work, and then I would just come back and answer this one. And it worked for me
Mm-hmm.
a lot better. I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
a lot better. So I just kind of stuck to the fact that I'm in pain and I have limitations, and what I have to do, do or not do, but pick up things or carry things or not carry things, and
Right.
you know, you know be. I don't want to call in sick all the time and cause problems for my company or my coworkers, no matter where I worked or even if I worked at home. So that was the reason that I came back to this one after, and I felt I was able to answer it better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good. Good. And you did a fine job, but an example of how to answer this would be to include limitations. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not able to sit for more than 15 minutes at a time. I'm not able to stand for more than 30 minutes at a time. I can walk 25 steps and I have to take a break. I really require at least one nap a day because I don't sleep well at night. I'm not able to lift like a half a gallon of milk or specifics like that are limitations, and stay away from the conditions because it's not the conditions, it's the limitations. So
Oh, okay.
I think it's
That
for
makes sense.
yeah, for any time that you're asked questions like this, it's really focusing on what it is that you cannot do. And this is probably the most, I would say one of the most important questions to answer correctly. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
I'm
I'm
just
gonna,
making notes while you're talking to me. So,
sure, sure. And thanks to you, this has been recorded. So,
okay.
um, so I'm going to go through more specific questions here, but I do have just some general guidelines that I want to touch on first. So some of the key words when you're asked questions to use for answers are the word sometimes. Like if you're asked if you grocery shop, do you grocery shop for the family, which might be one of the questions that typically is. And you do, but you only do it once in a while, but you say yes. Yes interprets that you could do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So if you answered sometimes, then that would be more in line with the real communication as to what you can do. And the same strategy for using the word often, you know, or usually. Hardly ever is something like you know, do you still partake in your hobbies? You could say yes, but if it's very seldom, you would say hardly ever. Okay. So, and in using your answering strategy, the thing is, and these are tips from other attorneys, just 3 really succinct basic ones, is don't guess. Don't, if you don't know the answer, don't guess. Credibility is key. It really is. And if you open up a little crack, these guys, judges, guys, gals, they do this all the time, and they're going to exploit it. So just be, you know, be straight up. Don't guess, don't lie, and don't volunteer any additional information. If it's something that can be answered in a short, concise answer, that's what you want to do. They just want the information. They don't want to, you know, because ultimately what this comes down to is you can say pretty much whatever you want. That's your opportunity. It's your day in court. But it's your medical evidence, what's in your actual medical records, and your residual functional capacity reports, the doctor's support letters that I hope everybody has in their file when they go to hearing, or when they start even. That's going to make the difference. Okay.
Okay.
So, and just so you know, when the hearing opens, you know, if you haven't been to one, hopefully you haven't, you're going to be greeted, brief opening statement from the judge. You'll be sworn in. I mean, in this court, asked to raise your right hand, full name. They'll ask you some basic information, you know, usually where you live, your address, all that stuff. So I have in here, Kristen, some questions that I have put some bold notes next to. And one is number 6. It's a question. These are the questions that were asked actually in a hearing, exactly verbatim. It says, do you live with anyone? Okay. So if I go over here, do you take care of anyone? Do you take care of pets? Very similar question, right?
Mm-hmm.
And driver's license. Do you drive a vehicle? Question 15.
Oh, I didn't answer that one. I missed that one. Okay. Glad to catch that. Okay.
Getting around. 15. How often do you go outside, walk in public? Do you drive? 15D. Right? So these are all, they're just, from what I see is they're just picking questions. Can you aid yourself? Which is 12. Up here, personal care. So, that's where they're getting the questions. They're seldom, well, I mean, there's certainly, there are zingers. They can ask anything they would like. And then they'll get into some, you know, specific conditions questions, like an example might be if you have mobility issues, they'll ask you if you use a cane. How long have you used a cane? You know, do you always need a cane? Questions like that. But outside of that, you're going to find all the questions on the form SSA 3373.
Yep. Okay, great. Well, I'm going to go through this again. So.
Yep. Do you cook? Are you able to do dishes? It's different than do you want to do dishes, I guess.
Depends on how many dishes there are is always my problem.
Right.
You know, if it's too much, then no, I can't. Mm-hmm. But I'm lucky enough to have a husband that does the dishes. So, yeah.
I have had listened to judges ask what it is like for you to do the dishes. If you say, you know, yes, I do dishes sometimes. And so, and this is an example where they might go with this. They might say, well, okay, you and your husband, for example, had dinner and there's a sink full of dishes. There's pots and cups and plates and silverware. What would it be like for you to, um, wash those dishes, right? Um, my hunch is they're looking for an answer that would be, well, I have to do the plates and maybe the cups, and I have to take a break and sit down for a while because my back's going to hurt, and then I can go back and do the pots. And, after I do
Hmm.
that, so um, that may be a type of question that you're asked.
Okay.
Yep, if you're on unemployment or collected any unemployment or any other benefits, those related questions.
Okay.
But just if you stay with the strategy and remember the key tips, don't offer any additional information. Uh, don't lie. And if you
Okay.
don't know the answer, you don't know the answer, right?
Okay. It's okay to say I can't remember or I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do if you don't
I know.
remember?
I just that's
Yeah.
that's my thing is just trying to remember all this
Hmm.
time and
Yeah.
what's gone on. So
Yeah. I think the 2 cents that I'll add in addition to collecting all of this information for people is I expect that most people are going to be nervous. You're going in court. There's a lot, weighing on this. You've waited a long time. But it's really important to do the best that you can do to be calm and clear-headed with this. And my one tip to assist with that is when you're asked a question is take your time to feed it back or maybe repeat the question, right?
uh-huh.
Um, right. So you buy yourself some time and you take a breath and relax because I've listened and learned that, you know, people get emotional. They just, they're panicked and it's really difficult to communicate when you're like that. So,
Okay.
yeah. All right. Good. Well, listen, I thank you for taking the time to do this. This has been fantastic.
Sure. And I do have to say I like the videos and when you bring other people, other attorneys in and have put in their 2 cents, it's great. So all of this
Mm-hmm.
part has helped me a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's fantastic. Brian Terry in here. I hope the interview you just listened to will give you a really good idea of how to answer the questions in court and make it easier for you. There's more resources that we have to help you prepare and maximize your chances for getting approved. And here's how you take advantage of those. Around this interview that you just listened to, there will be a link, and the link will be to disability hearing preparation, 96 questions you may be asked, something like that. If you're on YouTube, it'll be below. If you're on Facebook, it'll be above the interview that I just showed you. So what you want to do is click the link and then come on over to this web page and you'll have the opportunity to listen to the interview again that you just did. But below it are the tips for answering your questions, the structure for answering those. And if you want to learn more and do a deeper dive into the how to answer those questions, you can click the link there and listen to that interview with Attorney Osterhow. Then below here are the questions that we aggregated from the hearing. And you'll see that they're all listed down here and they link back to the adult function report like we covered in the interview. Now at the very bottom is access to a disability hearing preparation course. It's a comprehensive course, has 12 lessons, teaches you what to do, what not to do to prepare and maximize your chances for getting approved. We're in hopes the lessons that are in here will make your day in court a breeze. Before you click the green button to get started, one thing, actually two. If you're already in the course, then if you click the button and try to register, it won't allow you to do so. You'll know that. But there's a video below that shows you how to get the course started. And it really is important that you watch that because it will help you pinpoint your estimated hearing date, unless you already have one, and enter that into the course, and that will really be important. If you get stuck, you can contact us here at the Disability Digest. That's the disabilitydigest.com, and we would be glad to help you out. All right, enjoy, and I'm in hopes that this helps your day in court be a success. Make it a great day.